Yo, what's up, y'all? This your boy, Mr. Gold Bottle, man. I came to tap in about this brother Polight situation. Um, Situations like this could be difficult when you don't have a moral compass that you stand firm in. Um, Brother Polight and I have had a couple of interactions. One of them being a business transaction that didn't go well, right? And that issue is currently unresolved, partially because I responded in a way that made it impossible for us to continue a civil conversation. At that point, the only thing that could have resolved it was a civil litigation. So it was no reason for us to talk anymore after that point. And I bring up the fact that we have an unresolved business issue to say that I have a reason to actually be against him. I have a reason to not like him, right? But what I think goes unnoticed and unspoken on is that we have to be very careful. It's very easy to find yourself in a situation that looks absolutely crazy, but it not be what people think it is. My own personal experience. My wife was pregnant. Two people attacked her. I shot those two people. When the news reported it, they reported that I shot two people over a parking spot, and they never mentioned my wife being there. The only one that mentioned her, I think, was the newspaper, and they referred to her as a woman in blue scrubs. So I know what it's like for people to put a narrative out about you, and because there are so many people who don't like you, that narrative is very easily believable. I understand that. I think what I really want to focus on here is the fact that as a man, how would you want to be treated if an allegation like this was made against you? I know we all would like to think that, I ain't into no crazy shit like that, so I don't see how I could possibly have an allegation like that made about me. I'm not going to. Without trying to offend anyone, let's say that some of the people around you who could potentially put you in a situation like that don't see it profitable enough to put you in that situation. I'll leave that there. Those who are sophisticated can pick up what I'm putting down. There's something in America called the presumption of innocence. And the reason that I bring this up is not to defend Brother Polight, because I'm being very clear here. I'm not opining one way or the other, whether to his guilt or innocence. That's not what I'm speaking on right now. I don't know whether he's guilty or innocent, and enough information has not come out in order for me to make an intelligent conclusion or deduction as to whether he's guilty or innocent. And frankly, it ain't my goddamn business. However, what we have to realize is that if you allow one man to be taken down from a mere accusation, no matter what what people say the circumstances are, right? I want to be careful. I don't want to misspeak or comment too much on the situation, but the bottom line is, for most of us, we're not in a position that would be advantageous to someone else to put us in that kind of situation. And should we be in that situation, I believe that we would all want people to respect us enough to give us the presumption of innocence. I'm innocent until you prove I did it. I shouldn't have to prove I didn't do it. You should have to prove I did it, right? And if there are some things that like if this DNA thing is true, and we ask you to explain it, but as he stated, YouTube is not the place to explain it. You're talking about very serious allegations, and I've been in very serious litigation where we're talking about decades of time, approximately 5 decades of time, right? So it wouldn't have benefited me to jump on the internet and say something that a prosecutor could misconstrue or misinterpret or just flat out bend and flex to fit their narrative, when all I had to do was just shut the fuck up. I'm not a Brother Polight fan. I'm not a Brother Polight follower. I'm not a Brother Polight supporter. But I'm not delusional. If you could do this to Brother Polight, you could do this to me. And if people believe that Brother Polight did it simply because they don't like him, then the people who don't like me would believe that I did the same thing. So we have to point towards a standard. We have to point towards, hey, not to say women shouldn't be believed and not to say the allegation is egregious. Again, I'm not opining on his guilt or innocence. I want to be clear about that, because I know it'll be a lot of people that will say, oh, you defending a pedophile and blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not defending anyone. What I am defending is his right to be judged after all of the facts have been presented, not before. And again, this is not one of my favorite people, and we currently have a dispute that's unresolved. However, right is right and wrong is wrong. If you're a righteous person, it doesn't matter who's on the side of righteousness at that particular moment. The reality is this man was accused of something. It was very egregious. It's disgusting. But before you can actually call him anything, he has to have his due process. He has to have his day in court. As a veteran, I fought for that right, for him to have the right to due process, for both sides to be heard, and for the jury and the judge to determine the facts of the case and come to a conclusion as to whether he's criminally liable or criminally responsible for anything. Once he's been convicted, call him whatever you want to call him if he gets convicted. But until someone proves in a courtroom beyond a shadow of a doubt that this man did something, it would be wise to reserve judgment, because you could easily find yourself in the same type of situation. Maybe not with the same accusation, but the same type of situation could befall you. And I'm quite sure that you would want the opportunity to clear your name before people jump to the conclusion that you was a pedophile. Like, this is not difficult. It's not arithmetic. It's not rocket science. Treat people the way you want to be treated.